in our last video today, what we're going to take a look at is how to use the calculator as a shortcut method in solving the system of equations. So in our last video, we did a lot of work on number 46 on the review, and we got up to this point in our problem, and we solved the system, and we got the answer. What I would like to analyze is how can I do this on a calculator a little bit faster, perhaps. So to do that, we're going to use matrices. So we're going to first write a matrix that represents this system. Now to do that, what we do is each row of the matrix represents an equation, and each column represents the coefficients. So the first column is going to be the coefficient of my A's, the second is the coefficients of my B's, and the coefficients of my C's are the third. And then I write the Y value, or my solutions, in the last column. So looking at the first equation, the coefficient of A is 25, the coefficient of B is 5, the coefficient of C is 1, and my Y value is 2. For the second equation, there is no A, so it's 0, there is no B, so it's 0, and the C is 1, and I have a Y of 2. And then my last equation, my A is 64, my B is going to be 8, and my C is going to be 1, and then I have negative 6. Now what we're going to do is input this matrix into my calculator, and then we're going to go find a special operation on the calculator called RREF. And if I was teaching you more about matrices, we would go into depth about that. So here's my calculator, and then to input a matrix, all we simply do is hit the second button and go to the matrix button, which is the x to the negative 1 key. To input a matrix, we have to arrow over to the edit option, and we hit enter on edit. And we need to enter the dimensions. So the dimensions, remember, rows by columns. So the number of rows are 3, I hit enter, and the number of columns are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hit enter. And then I'm going to hit all of the numbers after each time I hit enter. So 25, enter. I have 5, enter. I have 1, enter. And I have 2, enter. Then my next row, I have 0, enter. I have 0, enter. I have 1, enter. And I have 2, enter. Then I have 64, enter. Then I have 8, enter. Then I have 1, enter. And then I have negative 6, enter. And there is my matrix. Now, once your matrix is entered, you're going to get out of this menu by hitting second and quit, which is right next to the second button. You're going to go back into the matrix menu. You're going to arrow over to math, and you're going to arrow down until you find that RREF option, which on my calculator is option B. Yours may be different, so it's whatever option it happens to be. And you hit enter. Now we need to find where we stored this matrix, and we stored it in matrix A. So to do that, we hit second matrix, and underneath the names options, we hit enter on the first option, and then we hit enter. Now we have fractions in our answer, and you know Mr. Nichols does not like decimals, so we're going to convert all of these decimals to fractions by simply hitting the math key, hitting enter on fraction, and hit enter again, and it will convert those to nice fractions. So we're going to write that on our table over here. So our final answer came out to be 1, 0, 0, negative 1/3, 0, 0, oh, excuse me, that should have been a 1 here, 0, 1, 0, 5/3, and then 0, 0, 1, 2. And if you recall, that was the same answer we got by the longhand method. We got A equals negative 1/3, we got B equals 5/3, and we have C equals 2. So we'll just write our final answer as y equals negative 1/3 x squared plus 5/3 x plus 2. And that's how you can use the calculator as the shortcut method.